And I understand money is not everything. Like money don't buy you happiness, of course. Cliche, but it's real. Money don't buy you it's a lot of things that money cannot buy you. But trying to say that you can make it in America, trying to say that life will not be easier in America without money is a lie. Money is pretty much just a tool. And that's why I just decided to transform my channel to a channel where I'm talking about the different ways that I've been making money, because I've been successful making money. I have been successful making money. Like when I first started my YouTube channel, my channel was not about making money. Even though I was making money at the time, when I first got into YouTube, I was really on some angry shit when I first got into YouTube, because that was around the time when I first started learning about just a lot of the different struggles that we had in this country as Black people. Even though I've experienced it, I just kind of went down the spiral of learning a whole bunch of different stuff, and I really didn't know how to channel that energy. So I used my channel to kind of just express my frustrations. But then I decided, over time, I started learning more about myself and understanding who I always was. And I just like for me, I like making money, and I understand the struggles that we have in the Black community. But for somebody like me who came from the mud, like I can't, like my mama raised 5 of us, right? My mama raised five of us. She was a single mom because my dad passed away when I was 5 years old, right? I was able to make it out of the mud, and I make well into the 6 figures, but I had to grind my ass off of that. I had to take risks. I had to do a lot of research. I had to study. I had to learn. I had to invest, right? These are the things that was able to help to propel me out of the situation that I was in, out of the situation that I was born in, out of the poverty mindset, right? And once I started making real money, I started to understand how money is made, right? So I decided, hey, I'm going to transform my channel into a channel where I'm going to try to provide as much information as I can. Hopefully, people don't look at my channel like the 30 or 40 views that I typically get on my video. Those 30 or 40 people who typically watch my video, I'm hoping y'all don't take my channel as financial advice, because it's not. My channel is going in the direction of how do I share with some people my successes, and how can they use my successes to turn their life into a success, right? Like I want to try to share with y'all some of the ways that I've won so that maybe you can look into it, right? And one of the things that I really like talking about is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of them things that really took me to the next level, because once I really got into it around 2016, 2017-ish, somewhere around there, like once I really understood the technology, I started going hard in it. Because I understood the scarcity aspect of Bitcoin, right? I understood the scarcity aspect. I understood the security of it. The fact that all of these different miners being scattered all around the world, getting compensated by solving this problem. These different miners scattered all around the world that don't have no loyalty to each other, right? No collusion, no corruption. The fact that it doesn't matter what religion you are, what you believe in, what race you are, what you look like, how fat you are, how skinny you are, how dark you are, how white you are, right? This technology gonna continue to push out this hash power. It's gonna continue to mine these blocks. It's gonna continue to produce Bitcoin, right? Like once I understood that, I was like, oh, I want to buy a piece of that. So that's one of the things that's been successful for me. So that's why I tried to make my channel. It's not necessarily only about Bitcoin, but it's about investing, period. Because I've made money in a lot of different ways outside of Bitcoin too. Like my primary source of income is a business. And the way that I was able to get my business was because I was actually working for somebody who was an engineer, and I was able to find out problems that they actually had in that business. And I was able to start a business solving those problems, right? So with that being said, fam, I'm just a risk taker, right? And a lot of times when it comes to being successful, it may come down to who's willing to take the most amount of risk, most amount of educated risk. Let me put it like that, because a lot of times, Let me just put it like this. You don't want to rush into nothing just because you don't want to just do something and be doing something. You got to be, anything you do, you want to make sure that you're taking time to understand what the hell the problem is that you're trying to solve. And then whenever you come up with a formula to solve that problem, you want to make sure that you're giving it your all. You're giving it your 100%, right? And that's the first way that I was able to be successful, by solving a problem. And what I do specifically is, like what I do specifically can more be considered a trade. It can be considered more of a trade, right? And it's definitely time consuming. It's definitely a mind twist. Like it takes a lot of my time thinking, and over time, that's something that I would eventually kind of pass on to some other people and transition out of it because it takes so much of my time. But what I do specifically is more of a trade, like I said. Like I do something called rebar detailing, right? And I have a business. If you get on Glassnode or not Glassnode, that's a crypto, that's a crypto channel or a crypto website, but it's Glassdoor. If you get on glassdoor.com and you look up rebar detailing, you'll see that they make about $15 to $20 an hour. But what I do is a specific niche. I'm really, really good at what I do. I make way more than that, like not even close. So what I was able to do, like I said, was I was able to figure out what the problem was that a lot of different companies are having in my particular industry, and I was able to solve a problem. I was able to find a problem, and I was able to create a business solving that problem. So anytime it comes to starting a business, fam, one of the problems I feel like a lot of people have is most people got the same damn ideas. Oh, I'm gonna start selling t-shirts, or I'm gonna be a rapper, or I'm gonna start selling food, which granted, all of that stuff is good. You can make a lot of money doing all that stuff, but the real money is made when you find yourself a niche. So with that being said, fam, I know I kind of went on a little ramble, but what did I learn from 2021 that I'm gonna implement in 2022 that's gonna help me to get to the bag, right? That's really the topic of this discussion today. That's a tough decision. I would say the number one thing that I learned in 2021 is going to really help me to get to the bag in 2022 is not dumping too much into any one asset class when it comes to investing outside of myself into a particular market, like a stock market or cryptocurrency. Not dumping too much money into a particular bag when you know damn well that you shouldn't do it at that magnitude at that particular time, if that makes sense. I know that sounded like a ramble, right? But at the same time, that's 100 though. I'm keeping it real. Like, that's one of the things that I learned. Because, like, for instance, like, I'm a huge on Bitcoin, like I mentioned earlier, right? But not only Bitcoin, there's a lot of different cryptos that I absolutely love. One of the cryptos that I absolutely love is called Solana. And another one is called Chainlink. Another one is called Ethereum, right? There's not a lot of cryptos that I absolutely love, but those are at the top of my list below Bitcoin, right? Below Bitcoin, in my opinion, below Bitcoin. Even though I do believe all of those different cryptos that I just mentioned will outperform Bitcoin percentage-wise, on a percentage gain perspective. But overall, Bitcoin is my favorite because that's what I know is going to be here. It's digital gold. That's something that I invest in and don't plan on selling. If anything, I'll borrow against it, use the collateral to fund different things that I got going on. But Solana, Ethereum, and Chainlink, and even PolkaDot are some of the other cryptos that I really feel strongly about. What Solana is pretty much like Ethereum 2.0 right now. They have very high transactions. What it is a layer one, right? A layer one is pretty much a blockchain that other applications can be built on top of, and they utilize a particular protocol called a smart contract. And with these smart contracts, things like decentralized finance Things like NFTs can be minted on top of these layer ones, right? What layer ones are is it's pretty much the problem that they solve is they pretty much eliminate the need for a lot of these different middlemen that we deal with in our everyday lives right now, like banks, in the future, like real estate agents, right? Like insurance companies, stuff like that. So what I did and where I made a mistake was even though I wasn't feeling as strongly as I normally do before I invest a large sum of money, even though I didn't have that feeling towards the end of the year, I would say it was somewhere around November, right? I had a lump sum of money that I made from my main business. I took a little bit out to pay myself, took a little bit out to pay the portion of taxes that I owed through my main business. And the rest I distributed to myself because I have an S Corp now. So I take a payroll and then I take a distribution. The distribution was the lump sum amount. I took that money, and because I had it in my account, I just could not stand seeing it in cash dollars and fiat money. I immediately invested it straight into, even though I knew better. I knew that we were due to some turbulence, but at the same time, I was a little unsure because I was extremely hopeful that the price of Bitcoin would hit 100,000. So if Bitcoin was to hit 100,000, a lot of these different altcoins were gonna rally too, and that was the driving factor that took me over the edge because I was a little skeptical. I was nervous, and I knew I shouldn't have acted because I typically like to make large purchases when I see blood in the streets. Like right now, it is. What is it? What's today? It is January 11th, 2022. And it's a lot of blood in the streets in all of these markets. All of these markets are bleeding right now. Traditional markets, crypto markets, everything pretty much except for real estate, right? It's blood in the streets. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the SEC, pretty much came out and said interest rates are going to be hiking up again. Even though everybody knew that. Everybody already knew interest rates was going to be going up again, right? Everybody knew that. But for whatever reason, the markets panicked. A lot of these whales, meaning people who have large sums of equity in any particular asset class, decided to just dump a lot of stocks, a lot of crypto, a lot of these high-risk investments. Me, I don't really consider Bitcoin to be a high-risk asset class. Well, not class. I don't consider Bitcoin to be a high-risk asset, but I do consider crypto as a whole to be a high-risk asset class. But Bitcoin, in my opinion, is not a high-risk asset. Bitcoin is a highly volatile asset. But a lot of these whales decided to dump Bitcoin, crypto, traditional stocks, right? And it caused blood in the market. Right now is about the time where I like to buy. But when I decided to make purchases of Bitcoin, in particular, a large purchase of not only Bitcoin, but Solana, and I bought some Ethereum, I bought some Chainlink. When I decided to make a large purchase, the price of Bitcoin was around 54,000. It was in the 50s, right? Even though I had a feeling that it was some blood right around the corner. But again, I was just so confused. I just wasn't sure if the blood was going to come after we hit that $100,000 mark that I was sure we was going to hit. But that's on me for listening to other YouTubers and doing, reading different articles from different I wouldn't say financial advisors, but different people who study the markets too, right? Listening to other people, even though my gut feeling had me like right at the end, I wasn't sure, and I don't really like to make large purchases like that when I'm not sure. So that was one of the biggest things that I learned in 2021. Follow your gut. Follow my gut. I should have been following my gut, right? I should have been following my instinct. I should have just taken my time, right? But at the same time, listen, fam. I didn't make a bad decision. I just could have made a better decision, right? Because yes, even though I made that large purchase in the mid 50,000s of Bitcoin, when the price of Bitcoin was around the mid 50,000s, the price of Solana was about $200. The price of Ethereum was about $3,600, right? Somewhere around there. The price of Chainlink, I believe, was about, I think it was $30 or above. Well, it could have been right below $30, right? Somewhere between there. Like, I just decided to go live, so I don't have these numbers just ready. And I'm not sure what my screen looks like right now on this YouTube channel, on this live. So I'm not sure if I can toggle back and forth or not. I'm still learning this platform, but I could have made a better decision. I didn't make a bad decision because I do believe Bitcoin is going to still surpass that. I didn't lose any money. The only way I'm going to lose money is if I decide to sell my Bitcoin today. Even though I had a lot of Bitcoin. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of Bitcoin, but I had a good amount of Bitcoin before I just made that purchase. I had a good amount of crypto before I made the purchase that I made, but I didn't really necessarily lose money on the purchases that I just recently made unless I decide to sell now while it's down, right? So the way I'm going to make a bag, the way I'm going to get my money way up in 2022 is I have to be more disciplined, right? I have to be more disciplined. Like, I'm an investor. If investing wasn't an exact science, everybody would do it. Everybody would have the formula by now, right? Investing is not an exact science. But the fact that I'm participating, I'm going to be way more farther ahead than a lot of people who's not investing whatsoever. I'm going to be way further ahead than the people who just decide to put their money straight in the bank, right? Now, I don't know if y'all chatting right now. I don't know if anybody's on the chat right now, but I'm hoping somebody is. But in 2022, what I plan on doing is just following my gut, right? Because my gut has made me a lot of money to this day. Like, it has made me a lot of money because I don't just invest in any old thing. I research everything that I invest in. And I don't like to buy things that I feel like is overpriced. And I do feel like when I made that purchase back in November of 2021, I do feel like I paid more than what I should have paid, especially when considering the low cost basis that I had on a lot of these different assets. The only asset that I did get into late was Solana. I got into Solana late. I didn't start buying Solana. Actually, I didn't start buying it. Like, that was actually my first Solana purchase, right? Solana came from all the way less than $1, like not even a year ago, I believe, right? So I decided to get into Solana like back in November, but I think Solana is going to go much higher. It's a lot of these different cryptos is going to go a lot higher. So again, fam, what did you learn back in 2021 that's going to help you to get to the bag in 2022? Again, let me repeat. What I've learned was to follow my gut. Don't feel so much FOMO. Don't feel so much fear of missing out that you just completely disregard the common sense that you have, the gut feeling that you have, especially if you're doing research. Now, this don't apply to you if you're not doing your own research. This don't apply to you if you don't have a handle or a grasp on a particular asset and a particular price point that you want to enter into that asset, right? So again, fam, thank y'all for watching. I just wanted to get this thing a test run. This is my first time doing a live. I hope that everything worked out. I hope that the camera's working good. I hope that I'm looking at the right camera. I don't know if this is the camera here, or I don't know if that's the camera there. But let me know in the comment section how I can improve my live streams. I intentionally went live at 2:00 in the morning Central Time, because I really didn't want a lot of people on here, because I wanted to test this thing out to see how good everything flowed, how good I was actually at making some of this software and stuff work. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for subscribing. Anybody who hit the like button to this point, I appreciate it. That's all I really got to say, fam. I'll let you boy.